been a year since we last sat down, Guy. Right here in Orange Beach, a lot has changed. Since then, unfortunately, a lot has changed for the worse, and this BP oil spill.
Yeah, it's been an ecological tragedy of monumental proportions, probably the worst one we will ever see in our lifetime.
You know, the Exxon Valdez, 11 million gallons. A few facts out there, Guy. You know, some officials say upwards of 60,000 barrels per day or 2.5 million gallons. That's over 200 million gallons since this thing started back on April 20th. It's been over 80 days. It's far surpassed the Exxon Valdez. It's like a Exxon Valdez every 5 days.
And we're reminded 24/7 because at the bottom of every TV news screen you see the gushing well. And so, you know, it's a disaster that has been brought into our homes, and it's night and day, night and day. And when will it end?
Are you shocked that they haven't been able to contain it yet? I mean, with all the technology that we have in today's modern world, that they have struggled, a company as big and as BP to contain, you know, I know it's a tough job. It's 5,000 feet below sea level.
That's the problem.
But I mean, are you shocked about that?
Well, actually, I just recently saw an independent video of what they have accomplished and how close they are to getting this bottom kill accomplished, and I'm very heartened by it. It should happen, Brett, before the end of this month. And of course, that will bring finality to it once the oil is stopped pumping out of the ocean floor, with all the combined cleanup efforts, the onshore, the offshore, and of course natural dispersion of the oil and evaporation. I would think that this oil will be out of the Gulf before the end of the year. People forget that in 1979 there was another monumental explosion on an oil rig. I happen to know about it because my brother-in-law was on it. He married my sister after that, but he was a geologist working on the rig that exploded. He landed in the water, had to swim 2 miles in the middle of the night to the next rig to be saved. But that spill lasted for 300 days, and people forget about that.
My goodness.
And you look at the Gulf, you know, prior to this new experience, and it's fine. So, you know, nature, not only nature will take care of it, but also our incredible cleanup efforts that we've been seeing along this part of the coast will have a great effect. I know there's been tremendous death and destruction of marshlands and
yes,
animal life, and we don't know what effect it has had on the microscopic fish larvae
sure,
and the juveniles that live near the surface, and of course the bird life and the marine mammals that interact with the surface. But it will heal slowly.
There's 3,000 plus oil rigs out in the Gulf of Mexico, and you know the government here in the United States, they want to put a moratorium on offshore drilling. Guy, you know, is that really the answer here? I mean, I know that everybody that's against drilling and offshore drilling say, look, this is one rig. What about these other? What if this happened to multiple rigs? I mean, is that really the answer? I mean, to me, it's costing more jobs and already a bad economy.
There's a lot of things to consider here. First of all, the record of offshore drilling in the Gulf has been pretty good. There haven't been that many big accidents.
Exactly.
I mean, we all have to agree on that. Secondly, we are all to blame, Brett. I mean, we all drive cars and use a lot of gasoline and you know, heat our homes and do all this stuff. We're all dependent on oil. We're all just as at fault because we provide the demand. The safety measures, though, and the mitigating measures that need to be in place were obviously not in place to contain such an accident, and that's where there are going to be changes. I don't think people are going to stop drilling for oil in the near future, not certainly in our lifetime. You mentioned jobs. It's very, very important here on the Gulf Coast, as well as the fishing industry, fishing, the oysters, the shrimp business, the recreational fishing. It's all hugely important. But oil exploration is a big part of what drives the economy here, so it's not going to go away.
With all the drilling that goes on, we're so dependent, as you just said. That leads right into what I was going to ask you next. You know, the world is so dependent on oil. Is there now more pressure on political officials from all nations to speed up the process of funding alternative fuel sources?
There's got to be. And I live in the Cayman Islands in the Caribbean, and we have sun 360 days a year. And I'm desperately trying to convert my own domestic situation to using solar power because I just feel, you know, dependence on gasoline and oil is obsolete. We've got to go to something more renewable and cleaner.
Well, you know, this spill has affected so many people in so many different areas. Right here at the docks here at the wharf in Orange Beach, all these boats have been docked now for over 4 months, and
they can't go fishing.
36% of the federal waters have been shut down. That's 86,000 Yeah, 86,985 square miles. And these guys don't know when they're going to be able to go out again. That's the thing. These are people's lives. These are livelihoods. They depend on this Gulf, this water, to make a living. And just imagine if somebody came up to you or I and told us we had to stop what we were doing for indefinitely until somebody came and told us, and we didn't know how we were going to make our money.
Understood. But I do understand that BP is offering compensation, and quite a lot of compensation. And there's now a formal channel through which anybody whose income has been affected, I mean anybody, has now access to some sort of compensation.